Hi, Robin Lass here. Just want to have a chat about fibre production and ask the question, what the hell, vegans? What the hell is going on? So, if you're wearing any clothes at all, you've made a choice about what fibre you've got on. I've got cotton top, denim pants, leather shoes, rubber soles, and a woolen coat. And Lass is wearing fur. She just made her choice. Didn't you know fur's out? Bad, Lass. So we've made a choice about the fibres that we're wearing. And every choice you make impacts on animals. So if you've chosen to wear a synthetic, which I don't have any synthetics on, terrible things. Every time you wash it, microplastics are released into the environment. So it's a plastic product. The impact on animals with plastic fibre is horrendous. So that leaves the two natural sources that you can get fibre from. You can get them from plants, such as cotton, hemp, linen, or you can get them from animals, which is like wool, mohair, alpaca. So the choice is between whether you have a cropped fibre producing system or whether you have an animal producing system. Now there's ups and downsides from both. Both have impacts on animals, there's no question. If you go cropping, you have to turn an area into a monoculture. So you get an area of land and you strip it back. So you kill a heap of animals in that process. Then you use chemicals, fertilizers and sprays to keep the area clean of insect infestation. And the insects are the base of the pyramid. You're killing insects, you're killing sentient animals as well, because they're going to come in and try and eat those insects. You monoculture, you plant your crop, it grows, you're still protecting that and killing animals. And then when you harvest it, you kill a heap more animals. Plus, especially bad for cotton because it's one of the worst crops for inputs. You are applying a heap of insecticide into the environment. The Mississippi Delta exits into the Gulf of Mexico. There's 100,000 square miles of dead zone interfaced between the land and the sea in the Gulf of Mexico, and cotton has a lot of responsibility for that. Now, I don't want to be a hypocrite. I'm wearing a cotton shirt, I'm wearing cotton pants. Cotton is way better than the synthetics, but it has a large kill count as well. It's not animal impact free. You can't be wearing cotton and protesting against wool. On the other hand, you switch to the animal fibres like wool. In wool production, we don't kill any of the sheep. So they're grazed on grass, which is the least impact you can have on any animals because you're running a complex ecosystem. The animals around aren't killed. You're not killing the field mice, you're not killing the birds, you're not killing the snakes, you're not killing the lizards. You apply very few chemicals, and the sheep get very few chemicals themselves. So the impact from animals being grazed for fibre production is tiny compared to anything else that you've got on. And it's not even close. There's such a huge difference that this is the most obvious place to point out where vegans have got it so fucking wrong. They spend money protesting against the wool industry, and there's nothing else that impacts animals less than the wool industry. They spent 6 months going into shearing sheds, pretending to be workers in shearing sheds and filming the very worst thing they could find. The very worst thing you can find in 6 months, and you film that. If I followed someone around with a camera and filmed the very worst thing you did in 6 months, some of it would look pretty bad. If you went into the Gulf of Mexico and filmed the very worst thing you could find from the dead zone for the last 6 months, it would look pretty bad. If you chased a harvester around the cotton fields and filmed the very worst thing you could find, it would look horrendous too. Everything has an impact on animals. Nothing. You can't get away from it. If you're wearing clothes, you are impacting on animals.
Okay, so what I want to show you is this is a sheep being shorn. This is a normal work day. You can see it's a 3-stand shed, 3 shearers working on the sheep. And this is a typical shearing of sheep. I'm going to show you right from start to finish, no edit cuts. There was 2 camera angles, so I'll zoom in on one, but I try and keep it all lined up so you get a full flow and a full view of the sheep being shorn. So first the shearer takes the belly off. Now, pay attention how much force is being applied to this sheep and how relaxed everything is. Look how relaxed the shearer is, look how relaxed the sheep is. Even this young fella that's close to the camera, look how relaxed that sheep is. Like nothing's having a bad time of it. The sheep's just come in for a haircut. Hell, you see people in a barber shop who can be more stressed. So, once again, this sheep is going to be shorn in around about 2 minutes 3 seconds, which is at average for a shearer. So there's nothing exceptional going on here. This is just a normal day shearing. And look how relaxed and carefully he is with the sheep's ears, protects their eyes, and none of his holds, they're sort of ninja holds. I've done just enough shearing to appreciate just how awesome these guys are. No, there's no force being applied to this sheep, no real force being applied to this sheep. It's just a ninja hold to make him relax. and the shearer's relaxed, the sheep's relaxed, sheep isn't having a bad time of it. Super important. The shearers can't afford to be fighting with each sheep they bring in. I mean, they're shearing 160, 200 sheep a day. So the sheep have to be relaxed and accepting of this. Otherwise, they would be fighting with them and they'd hardly get any done. They're paid per sheep. So it's super important that everything's relaxed and everything is easy. Look, no force being applied to the sheep. They do get cut occasionally, or they'll get nicks in them. And that's just as the shears go over because they've got little folds in their skin, so skin gets taken off. It doesn't seem to bother them in the slightest. So the odd nick, this sheep hasn't been scratched. And look how relaxed everything is. Super important. So that's a sheep from start to finish.
The protests in Melbourne against wool production, they're carrying dead lambs around. They're wearing cotton tops, synthetic pants and synthetic shoes. Are you kidding me? The number of animals that died for those clothes that you've got on, and you're protesting against lamb deaths. Lamb deaths is a very small percentage, and the reason that it's a lot less than wild animals is because we'll be looking after them. We don't like seeing them die. Only 1 in 14 deer make it through to adulthood, whereas only 10% of lambs die in the paddock. We spend a lot of time protecting our animals and producing high quality fibre, which people need to stay warm with. It impacts on the planet and animals less than any other fibre. And not only that, when you take wool off an animal, when you take some fleece off an animal, half of this is carbon. It's carbon dioxide that's being pulled out of the air and stored in that form. The reverse is true for the synthetics. They take a huge amount of energy and it's a petrochemical product. If you've got synthetics on at all and you're protesting against wool, you are batshit crazy and hypocritical. And now you know the truth. And if you do it again, I mean, I don't know what to say. What do you say to that, lass? What do you say to that? I don't understand, mate. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy.